Hey everyone, welcome to the Blue Wave. So we're less than 24 hours away from the Iowa caucuses, if you can believe that. And there's a lot of talk happening about the weather in Iowa and how it might potentially impact turnout and how this could be a last second kind of wrench thrown into the race right at the last second, as it can tend to be sometimes in these races. So let's look at the weather here real quick. I'm just going to pull this up for you guys. And what we have here is the next 24 hours of weather in Iowa on Monday, January 15th. And if you'll look here, the caucuses, I believe it's around 7 o'clock or so, 6 or 7 their time that they begin, and they end basically 9 o'clock or so. I could be off on the exact times of that, so don't quote me on that. But what we have here in the evening is -5, -6, and -7 degrees at 6, 7, and 8 with 10-mile-per-hour winds. Now, this is some frigid temperature that Iowans are going to be grappling with tomorrow as they caucus in the 2024 Republican primary race. And who does this kind of benefit? Or does anybody benefit from this at all? My thinking is that it's probably Donald Trump who benefits from this the most, because his supporters tend to be the most riled up, the most dialed into politics, the most, hanging on every single word that Trump says most of the time. And I think that it's really, really going to be where Trump supporters show up, okay? They show up in numbers that we expect them to. And it's going to, basically, the interest of the night is going to be, where does Nikki Haley land versus Ron DeSantis, right? Does Nikki Haley absolutely crush Ron DeSantis out of third place, or out of second place position, I mean, and into third? Or does Ron DeSantis's ground game that he's been touting so much, and the fact that he's visited all 99 counties in Iowa, like we've heard him talk about so much, does that somehow propel him to maybe hold on to a second place finish and keep some sort of hope, vestige of hope for his campaign alive? I kind of don't think that's going to happen, although that is a possibility that DeSantis could as well benefit from this extreme weather that is being grappled with. And so who could it hurt the most? Some little cat just made a little noise. I don't know if you guys heard that. But who could it hurt the most? And I have to say Nikki Haley, because Nikki Haley's supporters tend to be the least enthusiastic about her, and seem to be the most kind of people that are not as entrenched in some of the cultural wars and different kind of paths that the far right has gone down, that generate this sort of enthusiasm for what they believe is their cause, that's going to save our country and save everybody from wokeness and from the woke liberals. Haley supporters aren't necessarily all dialed into that. And I think it's where, they might not really think that she has a realistic chance to become the nominee, and that, they think that she's probably not going to win Iowa anyways, because DeSantis apparently has had better ground game, and Haley's ground game has been lacking, and she's put a lot more focus and attention in New Hampshire and South Carolina, a lot more funding as well, which kind of led to her potentially making this little quip at Iowans, saying that, oh, well, Iowa votes and then New Hampshire corrects it or whatever, which DeSantis hit her on during the debate. Nikki Haley might not do as well as maybe some people are thinking. And I think that her last debate performance versus Ron DeSantis on CNN was not really a very shining moment for her. And although it probably didn't necessarily hurt her too much, because, well, I don't really think debates have a whole lot of an impact in general too much anymore in politics, kind of more popcorn TV at this point. Um, but my point is that she didn't have a very strong performance, and she didn't really shore up anybody that was on the fence about Nikki Haley, and anybody that was kind of looking for her to display a strong show of leadership and make a strong argument as to why she is the person who is right to be the nominee over DeSantis and over Trump. They didn't get that during the debate, and kind of turned into this mud flinging, blow for blow contest where both are accusing each other of lying, and it just wasn't a really a good showing for Nikki Haley. It wasn't really for Ron DeSantis either. But my point is, I can't necessarily see that debate helping her in any sort of way, and factoring in this extreme weather. And I've heard some Iowans on social media and on the news as well, somewhat flippantly kind of dismissing the effects that the weather could potentially have, and that they're used to cold and they're used to this kind of monkey wrenches being thrown in at the last second, as I kind of said at the start of the video. But also, this is going to be apparently the coldest Iowa caucuses that have basically happened in modern American history, maybe ever of all time. This is some of the coldest weather that they've had ever. And negative, 27 wind chill and weather of the like. It's some serious stuff. It's not a laughing matter where it's something that you can kind of just tough out. And the caucus process as well is not where you just go in and you just check a box on a ballot and you go drive home in your heated car and the process is over. Okay, here in New Mexico, it's never taken me longer than 15 minutes to vote. It's quick and painless. Okay, that the Iowa caucuses are not designed like that, and the Iowans, they take pride in the uniqueness of their process. And I won't get too into how different it is from the primary process, and because it's kind of a lot of stuff. But essentially, it's a time commitment, and people have to physically be present to cast their votes, and people physically gather in buildings to basically take part in the caucus process. And 2 hours, going out at 7 p.m. in that temperature, and 2 hours later it's going to be even colder and even maybe windier. This is something that is going to deter certain people from going out and participating. And it's not where it's, oh, well, they're being weak, or they're being soft, or they should tough it out and vote no matter what. I don't think that's true. I think that this sort of weather is life threatening to certain people, and decisions are going to have to be made by certain people who are more sensitive and are more susceptible to life threatening weather, like we're seeing in Iowa. So my kind of thoughts are, it's really hard to say, honestly, exactly how. It's hard to even exactly predict the weather in the first place, right? I mean, especially here in like New Mexico, right? It's really hard to predict the weather in any meaningful way. So to predict how the weather is necessarily going to impact the election, it's hard to say, but what I think is that it definitely has the potential of benefiting Trump and DeSantis more than it does benefiting Haley. It could be where there's kind of decreased turnout across the board, that every candidate sees a little bit lesser turnout than they were expecting based on this extreme frigid weather that is being experienced. Hard to exactly say again, but I think that it's definitely is going to have an impact, and it's something that is going to be interesting to follow tomorrow. How long are the lines? How much, the exit polls will start coming out somewhat early. Well, actually, I'm not sure if they do exit polls for Iowa because of how the caucus process is. But basically, what I'm saying is that throughout the day, at some point, what I think is we'll kind of know how the turnout has potentially been affected. And it might be based on how accurate the weather reports are, how frigidly cold it actually ends up being. Either way, it's going to be a big day tomorrow, guys. And I hope that you all watch my videos of the coverage I'm going to be doing tomorrow. And, good luck to all the candidates out there. I'm not a Republican, and I don't really like any of the candidates in the Republican race personally all that much, but this is democracy, okay? And this is how it happens in our country. And I disagree with the Republicans on just about damn near everything, but they are the other major political party in the country. So good luck to all the candidates, and may the process go smooth. May we have no God forbid any violence or any of that, and hopefully the weather doesn't cause too much damage to the process, and hopefully nobody is harmed somehow by the weather in trying to participate in the caucus process. So let's hope that we just have a good clean caucus tomorrow. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be exciting to see how the race plays out and where everybody stacks up. But that's all I got for you guys in this video. I want to thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to like, subscribe, maybe show a friend who's interested in politics. Until then, I'll see you guys in the next video. All right, peace.